Welcome back to this episode of By the Wayside. On this episode, I got an itchy nose. On this episode, I'm going to be speaking with custom framer Michelle Vacca, and I'm going to be speaking with cartoonist Jerome Cabanatan. And don't go anywhere because this is where I start the opening theme song. The opening, this is the right way. Opening, go now. I'm naked from the waist down. That's right, I am naked from the waist down. You don't know because it's like a newscaster. And so the desk is here, but from the waist down, I'm not wearing pants. Stick around in this episode to see whether or not things are hanging out or things are hanging in. I don't know if you can hear this or not. I have been blessed with a really supportive family. Today, helping me out is both my daughter and my sister. I know that my sister has been here in the past, and this is my daughter's first time seeing all of the amazing things that happen here at Wayside Comics while I do an episode of By the Wayside. And she was trying to get my attention by doing this, but because I'm a professional television host, I can see everything that happens. So, bad kid. No fries. No McDonald's fries for you. I wanted to start the show off by talking about how when this show goes live, it's September 15th, and there's a few things that are happening on September 15th. Happy birthday, Ranger. There's a few things that are happening on September 15th that I always thought it was interesting that there is a world of international days. Does that make any sense? So I did some research. Creme de Menthe Day. I went... One second. Hey, Omar, do you remember when I texted you asking you if you had creme de menthe?
Yeah.
So September 15th is National Creme de Menthe Day.
Okay. So it's not you're lying to your audience because you are actually wearing pants.
Omar doesn't have a microphone, so you couldn't hear what he said. He said that I am the most handsome man, and he doesn't know if I'm wearing pants or not. So I really like having my sister and my daughter here because when I work with an audience, it's fun. I feel like I get more out of it. So September 15th, on the list of days, it said Felt Hat Day. And the picture was of a felt hat, but it wasn't not of a hat I'd ever seen in my entire life. So I was like, I'm just going to say Felt Hat Day. Then as I was leaving the house today to come to Wayside Comics in Newmarket, Ontario, I found this, my cowboy hat, which is in fact made of felt. So I thought that was quite interesting that I had a felt hat. It feels like a Dr. Seuss thing. I had a felt hat while I left the house. While walking the road, I tripped on a mouse. I took off my hat, said, "Sorry, dear mouse." Then I went back home. It's now my house. Dr. Seuss is dead. It is also, interestingly enough, will come up later on in the episode when we speak with Michelle Vacca, that it is also National Custom Framing Day. That was not intentional. It just happened, and it was brought to my attention by Michelle. So, thanks, Michelle. It's also Cheese Toast Day. And I just realized something again. This is not intentional. Later on in the episode, we are going to have an extensive conversation about grilled cheeses. Or grilled cheese eye? Grilled cheese? Grilled cheese. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I did not plan this out. Hold on. I just said, oh, damn it. Now you see that I'm not wearing pants. Hey, so on today's episode of By the Wayside, I'm coming over to Omar. He doesn't have a mic, and we're utilizing the new Wham Stand microphones. So as I walked over here, I realized that I had forgotten what I was going to ask him. So that's what happens when you have ADHD. You walk into a room and you say, hey, what were you in here for? I don't know. Hey, Omar, what is the plural of grilled cheese? Is it grilled cheeses or grilled cheese eye?
Grilled cheeses.
It seems like a lot of hootenanny. A lot of shit happened, Omar, just to get that terrible response. So I'm going to ask you again, Omar. Is it grilled cheeses or grilled cheese eye?
It's still grilled cheeses.
The door's over here. I'm just going to walk out of it. See y'all later on this episode of By the Wayside. I'm just kidding. I'm right here. That was really fun. I'm glad that I that was really fun. I'm glad that I got to do that. Oh, I don't have my hat. It's cheese toast day. Cheese toast, it's just cheese on toast. It's not a grilled cheese. I think it's the stupidest thing on the planet. There should be, when is grilled cheese day? Actually, I think on an episode of By the Wayside, I mentioned a grilled cheese day. I just want to thank my daughter, my loving daughter, Lily Middlebrook, who is just randomly watching TikToks off the side here and whatever, Dad. Just
Recording you.
so, Dad, just do your successful YouTube show, and so what TikToks are you watching? Yeah, all right. So, I absolutely love this, Mike. I love how this worked out.
I don't.
So on the rest of this episode of By the Wayside, we have some really amazing guests, and I hope that you stick around because, as you see, I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts, I guess. I'm filming a show here, dude. Stick around because we're going to be talking with some people. Whatever. Owner and operator of Michelle's Framing, Michelle Vacca is here with me today. Second business owner to be on the show, aside from Omar, who is the owner of Wayside Comics and Cocktails, the place that we do all of our recording from. It's a new mic situation, so when I turn, I don't know how it works. I'm Michelle.
Yeah.
You and I have a television history in the past. We have done some work over, I want to say like 10 years, but I think it's 6 or 5. I don't know.
Something like that.
Don't correct me. We used to do the entertainment minutes on local television. And for the last 4 or 5 years, we have done the Sutton Santa Claus Parade for Rogers TV.
The best.
The only. It's not just the best. It's like the pinnacle of Santa Claus Parade hosting. Now, before we get to the questions about why you're here,
okay,
and your relation to the creative community, I'm gonna do a little bit of TVing with you, and I want to see. It's been a while since we've done this together, so I want to see if we can do it.
All right, we'll give it a whirl.
Okay. I'm Jordan Middlebrook, and I want to welcome you to the 2025 Sutton Santa Claus Parade of Lights. With me, as always, is Michelle Vacca.
Jordan, it is an exciting evening. The lights, the people, the atmosphere, and it's a little chilly.
I screwed it up already because I jumped the gun. I can't believe it, Michelle. We're so out of tune.
We need like a little hand signal.
We need, as everyone knows, I have a couple helpers out, my producers. My sister and my daughter, they're here. They could have really done this a lot more too. And we weren't standing. Typically when we do the Sutton Santa Claus Parade telecast or hosting, I guess is the word, we're usually standing.
In the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning. But, let's see what we can do. I'll throw a couple pictures up. Maybe I'll throw up a video of us doing that in the past. Yeah. Michelle, one of the reasons why I asked you on the show is because when I say custom framing, people don't know what that means. So I'm just going to ask you straight up because you are a custom framer. And I don't mean building a house. I'm talking about pictures and the such.
Yeah.
I think I've already done the hand signals today. I hope this isn't one of those episodes where it's just hand signals and bunny ears.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
In quotations. Custom framing is more than just slapping a picture in a wooden square. What creative steps do you take to get a final product?
So custom framing involves a lot of things, or can include a lot of things. So anything from works on paper, canvas, objects, collectibles, textiles, garments,
like anything,
objects, you name it.
Like, could you put this mug?
100%.
This mug, you could put this mug in a frame?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So from kind of start to finish, it starts with a sort of a consultation. When the artwork or the piece comes into the shop, either physically. Some people will sort of send me an image just so I can prepare some ideas in advance if they're limited for time. But most part, it's just like a walk-in shop.
Yeah.
So it's just no appointment needed.
Okay.
Unless someone prefers.
Who would want that? I
It's
would
just if they're pressed for time or
you
they
drive
just want to
by
make sure.
and you go, oh, I got that thing in the trunk. I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
there's Michelle's framing. I should stop in and give it to her.
Sometimes that happens a lot, believe
Oh,
it
really?
or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Or I see people in town and they're like, "Oh, I have something in the car." Like
And you're doing a
literally, that
consultation
happens all the time.
in the
Yeah,
parking
yeah.
lot. This is this weird drug
But
deal
I try
happening.
to sort of like back out of, like walk away and be like, "Yeah, bring it in," because there's really, I can only talk so much about it without seeing it.
Yeah, I see what
Right?
you
Like it really, I need to see an image of it, ideally in person. So it starts with design. And when I'm designing something for framing, it really starts from the inside out.
Oh, okay.
So everything is built to spec and custom specifically for that piece.
Oh,
So nothing is readily available that I can just sort of pull off the shelf. So it's all done custom for that piece, and it's started from the inside out. So
so you would take
components,
like a certain color from an image or an object, and
yeah,
then build out from there. You know, the not the glass piece, but the mat, and then the frame, and
right.
then maybe potentially the wall that it's going on.
Yeah, so the things that I look at, especially as a conservation framer who's really interested in preserving. So the first thing in my mind is what it is, how it needs to be mounted, and what materials are required so that it's preserved.
Yeah.
So that's in the foremost, like thinking, and if we can make it beautiful and interesting in the end, then that's the goal.
That's the end goal.
Yeah. So the things that I look for is things like I work from tint tones and shades.
Okay.
Like that's a big thing because those are sort of the elements that we want to draw from the image, and ideally with those three combined is makes the most impact. So if you can imagine a picture and you take all the either the tinting out or the shade or the tone,
Yeah.
take one of those out and it sort of falls flat, right? So it's those three elements that really make something dynamic. And we're really just working with the tonality of the image
Yeah.
or the feel. So looking at things like texture, line, composition, all those kind of elements, those sort of principles of art, is what we're sort of drawing.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about it like that.
An extension of the piece itself. So we don't want to put something on there that's not tonally correct,
Yeah.
or that just doesn't jive with the feel of something. It all sort of has to make sense.
So it all comes back to one of the reasons I asked you to be on the show,
Mm-hmm.
because the goal for the show, or the mission statement for the show, is to introduce the audience to creativity or creative people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're taking into account all these really amazing things about a person's object or their picture or their piece of artwork, we happen to be in a comic shop here in Newmarket, Ontario,
Yeah.
Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and there's tons of pieces on the wall.
Yes.
That have all potentially been custom framed, or there's people watching this right now that would be like, hey, I'm looking for someone who has that keen creative mind that can elevate my piece of work. You piece of work. That's the second episode I've made that joke, by the way. Thank you for being numero 2 on that joke. Taking their work and elevating it to something that is more than just something on a wall.
Yeah, because every piece sort of has full autonomy to be unique and different on it, like as itself and
Yeah.
its sort of inherent qualities. So especially like when people are trying to match certain elements of decor and things like that, in certain situations, if it's decorative, then okay. But I always tell people it's like every piece is unique and does have full autonomy to be different. So it's like jewels on our wall. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
have
okay.
to match. And I think a lot of the times I have to really guide people to make selections for the piece. Like a lot of people will come
Well,
in
you're the professional.
and know what they want, but usually they don't.
Yeah.
And so I love showing people options and pulling those designs together to really make something sing. And then I love also showing people things that they wouldn't normally expect
Yeah.
or hadn't considered. because those are the really kind of special moments. And when they go for it,
It's like the aha moment.
yeah.
It really,
And it just
yeah.
sort of like, as the components come together, it just makes a really harmonious, cohesive design.
Yeah. So you really stepped on my second question there. So I'm not even going to bother to ask that question.
Go ahead. I'll
No,
answer
no,
it differently.
no. But it does kind of harken to the one question is, when customers do come into your shop,
Mhm.
is there something that they find that's intimidating when they come into your shop? That maybe they're overwhelmed by what's on your wall, maybe they're overwhelmed by the information, but is there something specifically that might intimidate
Right.
someone?
I think for those that are maybe new, like they haven't framed a lot of pieces before, not familiar with the process, then there's those that are a little unsure. I wouldn't say intimidated because I don't think I am intimidating or the shop is. So the shop is very clean and organized, and there's not a lot of busyness,
Yeah.
right? And the selection, because I've been doing this for like over 2 decades now, I've really been able to sort of curate a really finite selection of things that I know people
Would want,
like
yeah.
or would lend well and create a lot of versatility. So I don't find I get a lot of people who are intimidated, but they're just maybe unsure of the process or unsure of the cost factors involved with going into any sort of custom project. And also not really understanding or having the information about conservation materials.
Yeah.
So
now, when you say yeah, what do you mean by that?
So it means that the type of framing that's done is conservation grade. So all the methods and materials are used to preserve the image and keeps it from fading, yellowing, discoloring.
Like the glass and the paper. It's like the paper. What is the mat? It's not called a mat. The border. What do you call that?
The mat board. Yeah. So all the matting is archival. So it's lignin free. It's acid free. It's buffered to maintain an alkaline pH level. They're fade and bleed resistant. So they're a good quality board. All the glass is UV filtering. So for many pieces that are very susceptible to light damage, like textiles, watercolors, things like that, that's going to be like the first thing that affects an image, and it happens really fast.
Not shooting a YouTube show here, Mr. Motorcycle.
Yeah, well, it's getting to the end of the season, so I don't blame them. They got to get it in, right?
I guess that's true. But don't interrupt me. What do you? I should block off Main Street here in Newmarket. So
if I had a motorcycle, I'd be going down there.
You just to piss me off.
Yeah.
Okay. No. So yeah. Well, when you said conservation, I wasn't thinking conservation of the piece.
Yeah, it's
I was thinking
preservation.
Oh, preservation. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because you don't want your picture or your painting that grandma did to yellow.
No, because once that gets to that stage, because I do offer restoration.
Oh, okay.
So what we don't want to happen is getting to that point where something needs restored, right? Then you're into a whole other element of work involved. So what we call in the industry as preventative care.
In the industry.
It's preventative conservation. So I really want to ensure that, yes, you like what you're getting and it looks great, but it's also preserved.
Oh, okay.
So all the materials and components are based on that because every piece of art needs to be mounted differently. So whether it's a poster or a photograph, watercolor, or a painting, they require certain mounts and procedures.
Yeah. Every piece is different. Every person is a snowflake. Every piece of artwork is another snowflake. I didn't have another metaphor. I didn't have another metaphor.
And you know what? Every piece has a story too, and I've heard them all, and they've been amazing. And I really wish that I had started like from day one, writing them down.
You should start a YouTube show.
I should, because the stories that come with each piece are really truly amazing, and I've heard every story, and some of them are like really heartfelt. Some of them are just hilarious.
Well, I know the one piece that you did for me, and I came in and I brought it in. And I think I went on ad nauseum about where it came from, how it came to be, who owned it originally. And I swear at one time your eyes just rolled so far back in your head.
They did not. I was listening.
Okay, all right, because I have a tendency to drone on and I have a tendency to ramble. And I think, look at my sister's giving me the look right here. She's like, yeah, Jordan, yeah. And,
you're talking about the Zelda piece?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I love it. I got it hung now, and it's just
cool.
it's so cool.
So when you look at that piece, it's like it has like this blockiness to it.
Mhm.
Like it's got this dynamic color, right? The black and the red.
Yep.
And when you look at the font type, it was that sort of angled blockiness that that I sort of replicated into the frame.
Yeah, the frame has.
Yeah, it's got
Holy
that
shit.
angle to it, just like the.
I didn't know that. Now I got to look at that piece totally different.
Yeah.
So,
because it sort of complements the vibe of it.
Well, that's why it takes a creative person, hence you, Michelle Vacca of Michelle's Framing, to Michelle's Custom Framing. Yeah. Michelle's Custom Framing and Restoration. I don't know. I could keep going.
I'm just Michelle's Framing.
Michelle's Custom Framing Restoration.
You go on the website to check all the services.
Okay.
But
sorry.
But that's the thing with images. Like I can look at something and know exactly how it should be framed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like I can just see it.
The note of a professional, a true creative professional.
Yeah, because I'm seeing it for the first time. But it's interesting because if I have my own things, I get really stumped because I have a personal connection with it. But for somebody else's that's just bringing it in and putting it in front of me, I can know right away. It's like, this is what it needs.
You can really think outside the box on someone else's
piece.
piece.
And that's what's really fun. And that's what's really exciting about my profession, because I get such a mix of things every day. And it's always different, and it challenges me and excites me, and I get to hear all these awesome stories too.
Well, Michelle, I can't thank you enough for taking the time coming here to Wayside Comics and Cocktails and being a guest. I know that we've been friends for almost a decade. We've been television hosts together for about the same amount of time. So if this motorcycle man drives by, oh no, it's a dump truck this time.
One? Oh, it's a dump truck. Okay, I'm
not having any luck today, Michelle. I'm not having any luck. Thank you again for coming in today on this episode of By the Wayside. And if anyone's looking for custom framing, I know a great place. Stick around because we got lots more in this episode. Don't go anywhere. I almost dropped my cue cards. Welcome back to this episode of By the Wayside. One thing that I really like is the eclectic nature of the guests that I have here on By the Wayside. I just asked this segment's guest, Jerome Cabanatan, about the degree in which his Taekwondo skills have peaked. Do you think peaked? Or can you go higher? You said 7th degree black belt.
6.
Oh, sorry, 6. Is there a 7th degree?
There's up to 9.
Is that a scary thing? Not for me. Well, maybe, I don't know. But for a person that has been involved in Taekwondo for so long and has achieved such a high skill level, does it frighten you to go higher, or do you think that, I got this in the bag?
Paying for it is hard. Yeah.
I guess as you get older, things get a little tougher?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Jerome, I introduced you, of course, as a 6th degree Taekwondo. Is master a correct way?
Yeah.
Okay, master. But you're also a cartoonist, and you've done extensive work over the last number of years. And interestingly enough, more so started during what we all refer to as the global pandemic.
Yeah.
In one of your comics, I Got It Done, aptly titled I Got It Done, you say that comics saved you.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So when when the whole world went to crazy, that's what I was doing. I was running after school Taekwondo programs. I was national team coach, and also I was traveling a lot. I was actually getting close to burnt out.
Yeah.
Getting close to burnt out. I had two young kids at home, and I was seeing them less and less. And I was kind of waiting for. I wasn't going to stop on my own, right? I wasn't going to stop on my own. I needed something to stop, so something stopped us.
It stopped every single person.
It stopped everything. But then that also stopped me. Like it stopped my work. So I wasn't on the mats. I wasn't helping any of the kids. I wasn't helping any of the athletes because we didn't know what tournaments were getting run and everything like that. But then I used like just there's a I actually just used comics to like I connected with some people online. I think some people online, and we created together we created image grand design.
Yeah.
Image grand design. It's like kind of like all the '90s image comics.
Yep.
All the '90s image comics into one coherent story. Because if you read those comics, there was no story. But we put it all together, and it was a group of us. A group of us from around the world who just connected online, and that's when like Zoom started hitting.
Yeah.
And, we created this really really cool book that was like a 300-page graphic novel that we put out, and we sold, and we put the money to the Heroes Initiative.
Oh, right on. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that like Jason Lapidus was on it.
Jason Lapidus, my buddy.
Yeah. The Jason Lapidus. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. Got him there. Okay. But yeah. So that's.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off,
No,
Jerome.
that's fine. That's fine. I'm already thrown off by a whole bunch of stuff anyway. But yeah, it was so that was a fun project. It kind of got me to take my mind off of like not being able to work, but it also gave me some confidence to start thinking that this can be work. This is something that I actually can do. When I was running after school programs, I did make comics while I was running the after school program, kind of as part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
Because you can't just train the whole time.
You involve the students.
Yeah.
So they become a part of the work.
Yeah. It was like comics that I would do to create the curriculum. Like whatever their curriculum, like so instead of me saying you have to do this all the time, you have to do this all the time. You're a parent, you know how much you have to say things and then repeat it, and somebody else says the exact same thing and they listen to it.
Yes.
It's same as a coach. I can say it and say it and say it and say it as much as I want, but then if I make a dog say it, they might do it. So
Jerome, hold on. I think you just figured out parenting. We all know that right now. My daughter is here for this episode. She's in the back here. And if there's one thing that you nailed it right on the head in regards to parenting and coaching, is that you say, do this, do this, do this. And after you say, do this the third time, they zone right out. They don't care. It takes something different to get them to listen. So I think what you've really nailed it on is that we need a talking dog. So
of course,
science needs to.
And one that does martial arts is even better, and teleports through farting is even better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And rides a giant mechanized dog like a robot.
I haven't done that one yet, but we can.
Yes, of course we can. And travels through farts, travels through time, utilizes trampolines. I don't know. I could go on and on and on about these amazing things that this special dog can potentially do once science catches up to how creative our minds are working right now.
It'll never catch up.
Never?
Never.
You don't think so?
Never.
You know why I think it won't catch up? Because we're too amazing.
Of course.
Yes.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I only ask the coolest people. Now, I shouldn't have said that, because now all the people that I haven't asked be like, well, I'm not cool. You haven't asked me. That's not true. We'll get around to you. Don't worry.
Okay, I was the one that asked anyway. So
Jerome, don't be like that. No, having you here is such a really fun thing, because when we started out, By the Wayside started out, the first creator spotlight, one of the first creator spotlights that happened here at Wayside Comics in Newmarket, Ontario, you were a part of. And I did I held my camera and I had asked you a question about your connection to Canadian content.
Yeah, and then when you posted it, my head was like the whole square.
I can only do so much. I just said we just started out. We hadn't really found our footing, Jerome.
My daughter had a good laugh about that one.
Well, as long as someone is able to laugh at both of our misfortunes, my terrible editing and your giant head.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's what she said.
If we can fit an office joke in these episodes, every single episode, I think we got something made, Jerome. So you kind of touched on my question about the Taekwondo skills, but how do you take your Taekwondo skills? How do you apply it to your creative endeavors?
Well, so when I finished competing in 2011, and then when I was running, so for a job, I ran an after-school program, and being part of that after school program, I found that there was a need for people to help remember things, and a lot of times people would send home like sheets and there's worksheets.
Yeah.
Right? It felt like work, but I just thought that it would be better in comic form because things are funner in comic forms, or
So,
more fun.
Jerome,
I should say more fun.
I feel kind of bad because usually when a guest comes on, I hand them a form and I say, "Hey, fill this out."
Yeah.
I should pay you.
Yeah.
I should employ you
Yeah,
to
you
make
just,
me a
just
comic.
period. Just pay me. Period. There. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll just take it. But so I made the comic as part of the curriculum, and then it just became, and then I ended up, just talking with the kids, and then we wrapped the story around it, and then it ended up becoming like two graphic novels that over COVID time I actually slapped together, and we put it on Amazon, and that became an Amazon bestseller. That was really
Nice.
That's really fun. A lot of personal Easter eggs in there for me for that book. Three Kids of Troop 44. But in terms of everything else, I can't not see the world through the lens of like martial arts. Like everything that I do is in that way. Not that I'm saying like I'm going to the grocery store like this.
Yes.
But, anything that I want to do, I know that I got to work hard for it, and I'm going to make mistakes at it. I know that the people that are around me that are trying to do the same thing, it's better to support them than to tear them down.
Yeah.
And then whatever it is that you want to do, you just got to do it again, because you like even when I'm teaching my classes, I like when kids can't get a certain move and it's hard, and I just ask them if they know how to use a spoon or if they know how to use the bathroom. When you were a baby and you didn't know how to use a spoon and you didn't know how to use the bathroom, you made a mess. So let's go keep making messes. And I did make a promise to myself pretty early while I was drawing and making comics, and getting frustrated because this hand's not right, this angle's not right. I don't know how to draw this. My lettering sucks. Whatever. I just said I'm not going to judge myself until I finish 1,000 pages. When I do 1,000 pages, then I will go back and I will reassess my goals. I'll change the goalposts and then just keep adjusting. So every 1,000 pages, whether it's 1,000 pages in the sketchbook, 1,000 pages of single comics, 1,000 pages of whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just going back and erasing. I got to make progress. So to make progress, I got to make those mistakes. And I actually found a lot of inspiration just reading up on like old Avengers.
Yep.
Like old like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Avengers, because everybody loves Jack, right?
Of course.
Everybody loves Jack now.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
but if you go back and you look, like there'd be times like sometimes Hulk has three toes, sometimes he has 4, sometimes he has 5. Flips back, he gets to 3, and if he's okay with making those mistakes, if everybody else is okay with him making those mistakes, then cut me some slack. I'll make that mistake too. Being able to see that and knowing where somebody came from to get to it, then that's where and then you hear the same thing about Michael Jordan getting cut in grade 9.
Yeah.
Those kinds of stories, those were really important for me to kind of move on in whatever it was, whether it was comics, whether it was art, whether it's Taekwondo, whether it was on the coaching side, on the teaching side, because you make a mess doing that kind of stuff too.
There seems that you have found through Taekwondo a level of respectful self-awareness that enables you to make mistakes and to learn from your mistakes and to pass that knowledge onto your students and as well as your family. Because your family was there when a part of the critical line in which comics saved you, your family was also a catalyst.
Yeah.
You needed that push. COVID obviously helped, but you needed that push, and you found your family was the North Star in finding something creative where, hey, it's here, check it out. I did this for you, which in turn saves me.
Yeah.
And it's the self-awareness of it is quite interesting.
That's how the training was. Regardless of whether I was competing for myself or hearing cars go down the street.
You've been here long enough to know that the cars are the bane of my existence today.
That's okay. They got me here. When I'm working with, whenever I'm trying to do something new, like and things get hard, and like of course, whatever it is that I do, right? Whatever it is that I do, and I learned this a lot from my father. Oh, happy birthday, Dad!
Oh, happy birthday, Dad!
Yeah,
awesome.
Whatever it is that you do, you have to go home after.
Yeah.
So if your home isn't right, if your home is not right, then it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
Right. So everything that I did, I wanted to make sure that that home was okay, and that's what I was finding with coaching like and going around. I was getting kind of depleted.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to stop it.
Yeah. You just needed that push.
Yeah, I just needed that push, and then realizing that I can do, like, I have a skill set. I can, not just a skill set, but I have the desire to want to do this as work as well.
Yes.
Because with Taekwondo, I think when somebody grows up doing something that they try to be like really, really good at, they all learn this. They all learn that.
Yeah.
Right? They all learn that that you're gonna have to fail. You fail up, right? That's how everything gets better, and that's what I was trying to do. And I realized that this was something that I wanted to do. So let's put it all out there and put it all out there. If people don't like it, people don't like it. They weren't gonna buy it anyway. So
yeah.
But like, just keep pumping, and then
move on to the next.
Let's see what kind of work I can get.
Yeah.
Right. And it's been good to me. And I like to say, when I do, people talk about, people ask me that question a lot, like, how do you use Taekwondo to use everything else? And it's like, I do have a confidence of, like, I think I can do anything okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's like people say I'm a jack of all trades because I'm a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep.
I think I can be a jack of all trades because I'm a master of one.
Oh, interesting.
I think I can do, because I can always relate it to that thing. It was like, I think I can figure out anything at a, like, maybe not be the best, because I wasn't the best at Taekwondo either.
Yeah.
Right. But I think I can be competent in anything because
you're amazing at one thing.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I wouldn't say amazing, but I can figure it out.
Jerome, you had talked about how, it seems that your direction has really led you to the artwork, the comic work, the cartooning. Do you have a dream project?
Yes. It's Turtles comic.
Like a Ninja Turtles comic?
Yeah. Those are the only real kind of turtles that we want, not the ones that give us paper straws. But
it's a Turtles comic. It's a preservation of Sea Turtles comic book.
Yeah. And,
we want Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael. That's what you're talking about.
And my dream comic would actually be like a Ninja Turtles Scholastic book. Like,
interesting.
The Jedi, the Jeffrey Brown Jedi Academy books.
Yep.
I would like to do Ninja Turtles like that.
That's cool.
And if there was a way that I could do the Ninja Turtles book and maybe not have those 4 turtles, but those, the Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, like those first turtles that they drew, like with the
original,
with the 5 fingers and the 5 fingers and the nunchucks. Have those 2.
That's interesting.
Have those 2 hanging out in high school. It doesn't even have to be like super ninja stuff, but let me do Jedi Academy style Ninja Turtles. That would be the dream project.
That's interesting.
You hear that, universe? This is what I want.
That's why we have a YouTube show.
Pay me. No.
Jerome, I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
Sure.
So the first one is, who is your favorite Ninja Turtle?
My favorite Ninja Turtle? Actually, I wouldn't say any of the turtles are my favorite.
Get out. There's a door. Get out. There's an exit over there.
Which one would you like me to go
through? The plate glass window.
All right. Where's that Power Rangers hat? No, it's Shredder is my favorite character.
That's fair.
In all things. In all things. Shredder's my favorite character. If I had to choose one turtle, it always flip flops. When I was a kid growing up, it was Raphael.
Yep.
It was Raphael when I was a kid growing up, because he just fought and he did everything. But I think as a 42-year-old man, I think Donatello would have a job. So I would probably go on the Donatello side.
That's funny. 2 things, or a couple things actually really interesting about your choices is, one is, I believe that Shredder is the coolest design villain of all times.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite toys from the past is that old Playmates Ninja Shredder toy. I absolutely love it.
With his spine all bumpy and his
Yep.
hands like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you couldn't mold him any different than like that weird like pose he had.
Yeah.
Raphael is my
He
favorite
looked,
Ninja Turtle.
he looked malnourished, but you know.
But he's still cool looking.
Yeah, maybe that's why he needed to fight those turtles.
Yeah. Turtle soup, man.
There you
That's
go.
why he wants it. And my wife loves Donatello. So it's interesting how it seems like the really smart people, the interesting people who know the roles that the turtles can play, always go with the turtle Donatello. So you went with Donatello for very interesting and smart reasons. My daughter, well, maybe I'll ask her in a second. My wife says that yes, Donatello is her favorite as well. Jerome, I really love that Dream Project. That sounds really cool. You did you wrote and drew a grilled cheese comic.
Yes.
And out of all of your work, you were kind enough to show me all of your work just recently.
Yeah.
And I went through all of it. But in that document of illustrations that you sent me was a grilled cheese comic. A single page on how to make the perfect grilled cheese.
Yeah.
I'm going to have it come up on the screen here so that everyone can see that.
Yeah.
But I am a purveyor of just some butter on the outside, some cheese in the middle, grill it till it's not quite burnt, cut it, eat it, a little bit of ketchup. You went a step beyond. Onions, mayo.
Yeah.
There was something else. What am I missing? Meat? Is there meat in that?
Yeah, there's
That's not a grilled cheese, Jerome. That's just a heated sandwich.
But that's the thing. You have to see how it's the layers. Right? There's a grilled cheese on the bottom as the bread.
Yes.
Grilled cheese on the top as the bread. And then there's the burger. And then there's a burger. Then you throw some breakfast on it. And then it goes, right?
But I thought it was when we met back at the beginning of 2024, and I had asked you, I'll even put that up here as well. I'm gonna go. Oh.
They say just write what you know and do it and be you. I think if I don't put in anything Canadian, then I'm not really being true to who I am and how I grew up.
And then we're back because I put it there. Write what you know. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
I had asked you about the Canadiana that you include in your work, and you had said, write what you know.
Yeah.
Seems that you know how to make a damn good grilled cheese.
Yes. And again, that's because of Taekwondo, I would say, too.
Really? Everything relates back to Taekwondo?
Yeah, because you got to make weight.
That sounds like a fun way to make weight.
No. And when you're done making weight, and you've had your game, and you have your cheat week.
Yes.
Right. Those were some of the things that maybe my body might regret now, but it didn't regret it in the moment. I can probably get one of those, once a year maybe.
Really? Yeah. I could probably do one right about now. Actually, find me some gluten-free bread, and we are off to the races, Jerome. Off to the races.
Put it on the menu. Ask Omar.
I think that's what we'll do. We'll start a petition to get that grilled cheese specifically.
Yeah, we'll turn it into a poster and see what people have. Make it a challenge.
I love it. Jerome, thank you again for coming in and spending some time with me here in Newmarket at Wayside Comics. I really can't thank you enough. And thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
I'll see you guys at Wayside Con, October 27th. I'll be there.
All right. Stick around because we got some more up in this episode, and don't go anywhere. Welcome back to By the Wayside. And of course, no guests. What does that mean when there's no guest in the spot? That means that we're doing an Omar Recommends. And usually during an Omar Recommends, I take out the little stand, I look around the shop, and I say, Omar, where are you? Why don't you come over here? I don't know. I think we pre-planned this, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Hey, I don't know.
Did we actually plan anything?
Your phone flashlight on.
Your phone flashlight? This is what happens
I'm
when...
flashing everybody.
Oh, hello!
Sorry, I've been doing maintenance in the back there.
We know. The whole episode you've been doing something.
Sorry.
Omar...
That's why you don't have a hot chocolate today.
Yes, I know. Look, this is empty, folks. This is totally empty. Omar, do you like the new mic setup that we got from Winston?
The new mic setup. These are great.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying these. I was informed by both my sister and my daughter that I have been quite gushing and shucksing over this whole thing. So,
I honestly feel like you just walk around with these at home.
I do.
I feel like you ask some questions.
I do. Now we know that No, I don't know where the little bag is. It's in there somewhere. But we all know that I'm a content creator, Vacation Jordan, so we got little Vacation Jordan things on here. So I'll walk around and I'll like walk up to my wife and be like, "Hey, how was your sleep last night?" You know, like just stupid things like that. Or I'll walk up to my daughter and I'll go, "Hey, wake up, time for school." You know, those kinds of really fun
What
things.
you don't see right now is her shaking her head, giving him a look.
That's what happens. Yeah, what you see is what you get. I tend to talk a lot. I tend to no, I just tend to talk a lot, Omar.
Yeah.
He knows. He knows too. My sister knows. My daughter knows.
It's not a show, folks.
This
is Jordan.
What you see is what you get. And what do we get today on Omar Recommends?
All right, what do we get today? This is kind of a deep cut, but I really love this book. It's called Bad Dog from Joe Kelly and Diego Greco. So so this is around. I think this book exists because of it's a Dog the Bounty Hunter joke. So this book came out circa like 2008ish, and some of the jokes are a little bit dated in here. There's a really funny bit with a bunch of white supremacists who think Barack Obama's a cryptid, but it's still really good. So the basic premise of Bad Dog is the lead character is a werewolf who refuses to turn back into a human because he's undergoing an existential crisis. And his partner in crime and bounty hunting is a lapsed priest who is just debaucherous in every way, shape, and form. All he wants to do is get drunk and get laid. And he kind of looks like he looks like the Violator from Spawn a little bit. But yeah, I love Joe Kelly. I think Joe Kelly's a hilarious writer. He has done some of my favorite books, and this one is no different. Like I said, I've been fond of this since this came out, and I actually thought that this didn't finish, and that I didn't realize it had been collected until recently, because I think I only ever read the first like 4 issues, and I picked it up when we opened the shop, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta read this again. And it does not disappoint. So if the basic premise doesn't like capture you right there, I can't help you. But yeah, it's this weird world where again they're in like Texas, they're hunting down bounties. Things always go wrong for these two, and there's all these like comedic moments interspersed, but there's all these like very serious moments, and there's a much deeper story that they don't kind of get into, but they allude to, and they kind of let you go through it. Like there's a head that he talks to in his fridge that is never quite described, but like that's if you're talking about like stage plays, that's kind of his Greek chorus.
Oh, interesting.
Where he gets a lot of the things out, but there's also like a character, like the one bastion he has of like being able to connect with someone is a blind waitress who can't see him for what he is.
Because he's a werewolf.
And yeah, again, he refuses to turn into a human. So it's just kind of that weird journey that he goes through, and it's this wonderful little microcosm of a book that's both humorous. It'll touch you it'll hit you in the feels quite a bit, and then it has a kind of like big superhero action that you're looking for. Like there's a really cool set piece about kind of coyotes like smuggling people that turn out to be vampires.
Oh yeah,
things like that. So they really use the supernatural elements of the world in this very realistic setting, and kind of combine that all to make this kind of crazy story. And the big bad guy at the end is this. I'm not even going to get into it, but it's this wild character. It all ends up in like they go to Las Vegas to have like one giant night of debauchery, and you find out that they've been banned from all these places. Like they're not even allowed in the hotels because
Is this the same Joe Kelly? Pardon my 90s.
It is the same Joe Kelly.
From the Deadpool comics? Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. It's been a long time since I read those Deadpool comics. And then I see the name on the spine here, and I'm kind of remembering. I'm like,
so if you read those comics, if you read that era of Joe Kelly, imagine that when he doesn't have a Marvel filter on him.
That sounds fun.
That's what you get out of this. So if you've read anything old Joe Kelly, that's what you get. So this isn't I Kill Giants Joe Kelly, where he's getting like really emotional with the things he's doing and he's trying to deal with loss and depression. This is Wild Joe Kelly, where he's just like, like I said, I think this whole book started as like a pun, having a bounty hunter dog, and then he just kind of ran wild with it. And it's just pure joy. Like some books are just pure joy. It's like relatable young adult mystery comic.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing where it's just like someone who had a crazy idea and they ran with it. And there's a lot of jokes. It's like joke, but there's a lot of heart to it at the end. And I don't know, this is like a comfort read for me, and I really enjoy it, and I really hope more people read it. The artwork's great. The writing is great. The characters are extraordinarily memorable. Like I said, some of the jokes are a little bit dated because it's very much a product of its time. It's like watching an old episode of Buffy is kind of what you get from this. but again, cranked up to the nth degree. And yeah, I highly recommend it. I really do. This is a book I wish more people knew about.
Well, that's why it's called Omar Recommends.
Yeah.
We should do a segment where it's Omar Doesn't Recommend.
No, I don't like to talk about the negativity thing.
That's why you're here. That's why I like having you around, because
the thing is, every comic, it's the one thing I always say, like, it's the thing about geekdom that I really like, is I may not like what you like, but I love that you are so passionate about it, that you are just like in a rave about it, and that it's touched you in that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's incredible. Fair. There's always something for everybody, and that's what makes the medium so enjoyable to me. Is there's artwork for everybody. It's like as divisive as something like Rob Liefeld is for people like the art.
Yeah.
Some people will bash it, some people will do it. Some people love it. And like, I think for me, like, I love Rob Liefeld stuff when I was a kid. And it's one of those things where I really feel like, for example, his art connects with people because it feels like almost like kids drawing it.
Interesting.
So I feel like you have that connection. Like I draw like this a little bit.
Do you think because of what you just said, I'll never get Rob Liefeld on my show?
No, I think Rob Liefeld has and most comic creators, they have like this childish glee and joy inside them. They're just trying to put it on a page.
That's fair.
And however it comes out is however it comes out, whether you're drawing feet or you're not drawing feet, or you're embracing those kinds of jokes to the point where they put it in a movie.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Like, I love this medium for that reason. There's writing for everybody, there's art for everybody, there's stories for everybody, and not everything is for everybody. And it's just like anything. Some things you'll read when you're younger and you won't like them. Some things you'll read the same book when you're older and then it'll connect with you in a way that it never did before. Or some things you read later and you're like, oh my God.
The Old Man Logan did that to me. Or not Old Man Logan, Wolverine Origin. I read it when it first came out and I'm like, I guess. But then I read it recently within the last, like 6 months. And I'm like, oh, like now that I've aged, 15, 20 years, like, oh, wow, like this is like really good stuff. So yeah, it's interesting that it comes down to what you said. There's something for everybody. Yeah. Don't yuck someone's yum.
100%.
Yeah.
And sometimes, if someone talks to you about something with that much fervor and that much passion, it makes you kind of want to reevaluate and recheck it out. And I've done that with a couple of books. And there are certain books that I was never interested in, really, until someone talked to me about them. Even something like Do a Powerbomb.
Yeah.
I'd seen Daniel Warren Johnson stuff, but I never really jumped into it, never really connected with me initially. And then hearing just people gush about it, that's what led me to read those books. Yep. And then now Do a Powerbomb is one of my favorite books.
It is also one of mine, based on an Omar Recommends. Well, Omar, thank you again for making the trip to Wayside Comics in Newmarket.
Thanks for coming to your own show.
Yeah, thank you again for opening up so that we could film this little YouTube show here. We definitely could not do it without you. 100% could not do it without Omar Sayer, owner and purveyor of Wayside Comics in Newmarket.
That's not true. You totally could do it anyway.
I'm just trying to be nice here.
I know you.
I could do this show on my own. F off, everyone. All right, stick around because we got a little bit more. Omar, thanks again. I appreciate it.
No worries. I'm not going to use your sign off there, but I'm going to say catch you by the way.
Yes, he's going to say that.
Not the F off, everyone.
And that's a full episode of By the Wayside. I again want to thank my guests, Michelle and Jerome, for coming out and spending a little bit of time with me to do this really fun episode here at Wayside Comics in Newmarket, Ontario. I wanted to remind you to go check out the Patreon, where you can give me some money so that I can do this show continuously. I also wanted to encourage you to go to Wayside Creative, where you can check out the new publishing imprint that treats every creative endeavor like a cinematic experience. Also, this is something that's really fun, and I'm going to start talking about it for the next couple episodes, is on October 27th at Market Brewery in Newmarket, Ontario. The Wayside Creator Con is happening, and I want you to keep going to waysidecreative.com, and I want you to keep finding out when those tickets will be available and all the amazing people that are going to be there. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Wayside Show. No, it's not Wayside Show. By the Wayside Show. Or you can follow me on my content creator, vacation.jordan. And that's it. That's a show. That's a really fun episode of By the Wayside. I will see you next time. Thank you again to my guests. Thank you again to Katrina. Thank you again to Lily. The people that were here to help me out with production, behind the scenes stuff. Thank you very much, and we'll talk again later.